Good evening everybody and welcome to tonight's Bourne Property Show live. It's Thursday evening, it's 6 o'clock and you join us here at North Street in Bourne at our office. Good. I'm the property sales manager here at the Hill and Clark office. Apologies, I was unavailable last week, as Mike probably mentioned. I was out and about doing appointments. Busy time of year, so I'm back tonight. Really pleased to be back, and I'm really pleased to be joined by my co-host Mike Hollenby, operations manager. How you doing, Mike?
Good evening. Very well indeed. It's good to have my aunt back.
Miss me?
Deck. Very much so.
Good.
Very much so.
Good.
Always,
Glad.
Always an interesting one, winging it on your own, but no, it's a good experience. And again, we've had a fantastic result from last week's show. On the evening, we had 213 people involved watching the show, which is a fantastic result in only our second week. On the evening as well, we had about 780 people that actually saw it later that evening. We've now rebroadcast that, and that's gone out over the last 7 days, and we've now had over 2,500 views of that video. So massive thank you. It's great to see you all getting involved. Again, as always, what I want you to do tonight is hit that thumbs up for us, just so we can see that you're out there and watching this evening. Lucy's going to be keeping an eye on that as well throughout the evening on what's coming up on the screens. But again, another little thing we want you to do tonight is just put in the comment box for us. Say, for example, hi Lewis, hi Mike, or let us know who you are out there so we can get you by name tonight. It'd be nice to be able to address back to you as well, our avid viewers. So yeah, thanks very much indeed. Great result from last week, as I say, and we've got some more feedback on how things have gone throughout that week as well.
Yeah, it's been a really busy week. Obviously, a lot of questions were raised last week regarding a lot of different topics. This afternoon, myself and Mike have been across to the Corn Exchange, where there's a public exhibition by Larkfleet Homes regarding a proposed development site to the north of Manning Road, and that's been a really hot topic of debate on a lot of the Facebook pages in Bourne Wall Links and other pages as well. And we've had a really good meeting there. We had a really good look around the exhibition. It was really busy as well. Lots of people there when we went a couple of times. We met with the planning manager, a lady called Hannah Guy, who gave us time and was really pleased to answer our questions and give us a little bit more information, which we'll touch on a little bit later on, as well as getting around the town. We've been around the town again today, haven't we? And,
we have,
and throughout the week, speaking to local businesses, speaking to individuals, homeowners, property owners, even people coming and seeing us in the street to ask their questions and have conversations with us. So it's really appreciated. A really busy week. We've done loads of research on last week's questions that were raised as well, and we're pleased to obviously bring that to you this evening.
Again, just want to say hello, Leela. I can see you've sent us a nice message to see this evening just to let us know you're involved. Thank you very much. I walked over into the Holbridge office early this morning. Leela walked in and said, really looking forward to tonight's show. So we know that you and all the editorial team are watching this evening, so a big thank you to you. It's really great to have all of our community across the South Lincolnshire really involved, but in particular, again, about the Bourne community. As Lewis said about the Larkfleet Homes, we were planning to come live from the exhibition this afternoon. When we went over again, the guys were really involved with the public of Bourne being over in the Corn Exchange this afternoon. Some great questions going forward. We're just mindful again that we didn't want to take up their time when they were talking to the community there this afternoon. I think a lot of people have seen the broadcast last week and took the advice to go down and talk. You do have your view, obviously, and again some good questions going forward, in particular to a lady there called Hannah, who was really helpful with us today. Gave us lots of information that we needed, and Lucy's got a bit of an update on what will be happening on that next week for you. So that's why we've not come live from there.
Here I am outside the proposed development on Manning Road, just to the north of Manning Road in Bourne, for Larkfleet Homes, where 110 properties are set to go under consultation with the public this week here at the Corn Exchange in Bourne. As you can see behind me, the potential area where these properties are going to be built, and it could extend across all the way onto what was the former Anglian Home furnishing site as well. Going round to the side here, there's already a precedent been set whereby there was properties built by Larkfleet Homes behind, which are a selection of 2 and 3 bedroom starter properties, and this development was completed literally only 2 or 3 years ago. So we're going to be asking a few questions. We know there's a lot of people that have been talking about the infrastructure within the Bourne area and whether that the town can actually cope with more new homes coming to the area. So we're going to be asking a few questions, not only to Larkfleet Homes but also South Kesteven District Council and their response on whether the infrastructure can cope in the area. I'm with Hannah Guy, planning manager of Larkfleet Homes, and we're here this evening at the public exhibition for the proposed new development site north of Manning Road. Hannah, how's it getting on so far today?
It's really busy.
Good.
Yeah, it's been ever so good. We sent out adverts in the paper, posted round, leaflet dropped to the local residents, and yeah, we've been busy all evening.
Brilliant. And obviously it's very difficult to probably gauge at this stage, but the response as an overview, initially, your initial kind of reaction?
Well, you know, some people aren't happy.
Can't keep everyone happy.
It's a green field,
and
they're used to that, having that view.
Of course.
But you know, generally, yeah, they come, they see, we talk, and they go away with more information.
We've obviously been having a little bit of a look round, and we've seen that people asking a lot of questions, and the good thing is you've been able to give some real positive answers, which seems to be really well received by people as well, which is great. And this is all about that fact-finding mission for both yourselves and, of course, the residents in that area as well. And I know you've kindly agreed to come back to see us next week.
We have,
to probably have a little bit more of an in-depth interview on that one, so we can obviously talk about the development in a little bit more detail, and your plans of what you're looking to achieve as well, which is great. So really appreciate your time with that, and I think it's one of these, I think this is great. I think from what we've seen so far, it's been really well received, and appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Lovely, thank you. Hannah's kindly agreed to do an interview with us, and she'll be discussing the success or the feedback from tonight's planning exhibition, which is going on at the Court Exchange. We've had feedback as well from South Kesteven District Council. Obviously a lot of questions were raised by the community in terms of infrastructure within Bourne, and indeed obviously how proposed new developments are going to be able to cope. So the council have currently come back and agreed to give us an interview, and we're hoping they're going to be coming in live next week to join us, so we can have a live Q&A with yourselves, and you can ask us any questions. We will put them to the council live, as well as a big live Q&A which we're going to have next week as well. So a really busy show next week, Mike.
Fantastic, great. So let's just run through the format for this evening for you. So as usual, we're going to run with tonight's hot topic. Tonight's hot topic follows on from an area that we touched on last week from Bev over the road at Clinton Cards, who put forward that question about how much has that property value in the Bourne area increased over the last 20 years. We've got some really interesting figures just to fill in a few gaps on that. Once we've done a bit more homework over the last sort of week or so, we felt we ought to come back to you just to give you some more statistics, and again tying into the broadcast in week one in regard to what we think was going to happen to house values. We thought it'd be a good opportunity to tie those two subjects in together. So Lewis is very kindly going to bring you an update on that. Again, we've also got questions from the community, and the question that's been put forward to us earlier in this week was over from Alison over at Sweet Sensations, and her question for us this evening to look at was how long does it take to sell a commercial property? Really interesting question as a business owner over in Bourne, so we've got that to have a look at. We'll also be dropping in the broadcast a little bit later on this evening again some of the community saying why they love working and living in Bourne. That's another feature that we're going to be doing and bringing to you when we go out on the roads, being involved in the community, going into those businesses. We might even stop you on the street and ask you the question. So if you're passing by, pop in, have a coffee if you want to put that question to us, or again if you want to come in and get involved and tell us why it is that you love shopping, working, living and being involved in the local community in Bourne. Again, please do pop in and meet with us. Love to meet with you.
A question for you really, Bev. Why do you love living in Bourne?
Because when you come into town and you want to come and do some shopping, it's a very familiar and friendly, and everybody knows your face, and it's just a really friendly atmosphere.
So that's the format for this evening. As I say, what we'll do is we'll kick off straight away with tonight's hot topic.
Yeah, it's something that we found really interesting actually, and it's a question that was raised regarding obviously property prices and how the market has improved in Bourne over the last 20 years. Now I've obviously lived in Bourne myself all my life, 32 years, and it's been something which I found really interesting as well. And I've lived in 2 or 3 parts of Bourne and obviously Morton as well over the years. So the key headline was that if you're a homeowner in Bourne, £564.90 per month is the profit made by every property owner over the last 20 years in Bourne. The housing market in 2017 was a little more subdued than 2016, and we think that will probably continue into next year. But property ownership is a medium to long-term investment. So looking at the long-term time frame, the average Bourne homeowner who bought property 20 years ago has seen a rise of 192%. Now, I was 12 years old, Mike, when that happened, so I wasn't a homeowner, I was building houses with Lego. But for those that were buying properties at that time, wow, 20 years ago, a detached house would have cost $81,500. And in today's market, on average, you're looking at around about $255,000, £173,000 profit. There's not many jobs that would give you that alone. You join me here down the Stevenson's Way part of Bourne, which are a selection of 1970s 4 and 5 bedroom houses. And back in 1998, these properties would have averaged around about £80,000 to £90,000. And in the current marketplace, you'd be looking anything on average around about the £250,000 mark, up to around about £260,000, averaging an increase of £722 per month over the last 20 years. It's important as house prices are a national obsession. We all look at our house price, we all want to know how it's worked, and it's tied into obviously the UK economy as a whole. So it's a very emotive subject, and it's an interesting subject for a lot of people. The historic gain in the Bourne property market values has come through the market growth, although some of that have been added by homeowners modernising, extending and indeed developing their homes in Bourne. And I've seen a lot of that over the years, and a lot of properties I go out and value around the Bourne area as well. Another factor that will affect prices is obviously my prediction that the balance of power between Bourne buy-to-let landlords and first-time buyers should tip towards more the local first-time buyers. We've already seen this month alone the amount of first-time buyers that have registered and indeed buying through us already. The Council of Mortgage Lenders expect the number of buy-to-let mortgages to drop quite a bit, by 34%, from levels not seen since 2015. And this is due to taxes in the main, and it's due to obviously the increase recently on buy-to-let and harder lending criteria for buy-to-let mortgages. The government, the economy are keen for house buyers and homeowners to get on the housing ladder. And I foresee a gradual move in the balance of power in favour of first-time buyers rather than buy-to-let landlords, especially in this area. First-time buyers are going to be helped, of course, by the Chancellor eradicating the stamp duty for properties. So now any first-time buyer can buy a home up to £300,000, and after the recent budget, that will be stamp duty exempt. So if you buy a home up to £300,000 as a first-time buyer, you don't have to pay stamp duty. And an important factor to that is obviously the building of new homes, which has been a massive topic both locally and in the country as a whole. This has picked up in 2017, and over 217,000 homes have been coming onto the UK housing ladder in the last year. That's a 15% increase on the figures previously. But Sir Philip Hammond has set a target of 300,000 properties, I should say, a year. So loads more to go as yet. We mentioned in last week's broadcast that we predict a further increase in property values in 2018. And by a further 3%, which should make, well, we hope it will make indeed, average selling homes in Bourne at 212,695. And if you'd like to know a lot more about that, and if you'd like to know the value of your home in the current marketplace and where it's at, look, please get in touch with us. We want to help you. We want to give you that indicator, especially if you've lived in your home for a long period of time, especially if you're looking at maybe making the most of the money you've made out of your property over that period of time, and maybe looking to downsize and take some of that equity out, or indeed obviously upsize and go up the ladder. Give us a call, come to the office, drop us an email, Facebook post, they're all really welcome. Come and see us and we can have a chat about that in more detail.
Fantastic, really interesting topic. So that's in direct response now to sort of two of the questions that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see your thoughts as well. Do you think that actually the Bourne housing market could increase further than that 3%? We've seen it steadily grow, and even when we talked over the last couple of weeks about the crashes back in 2007, 2008, the Bourne housing market's really recovered from that. And what we're seeing more and more in the actual community and in the town at the moment, as you'll have all have seen, is obviously the redevelopments. You've got Marks and Spencer's coming in.
Yep.
Proposal of maybe W.H. Smith also coming in. We're seeing more and more that some of these shops and the retail units that have been empty for a good number of years, they're now filling up. For example, the office that we're in now, this had been empty for a long period. We've opened our offices on here, and as you walk through the town centre now, it's really good to see those business premises being filled. That's bringing people into the area, and again, as an agent in the town, our role is obviously to make sure that we're able to service that need in regard to buying and selling. So we know when we've opened the office here that there is that need. There are people wanting to move to the area. So great economy and a great feature. So hopefully that's answered the questions that you've had over the last few weeks. If that's brought out any other sort of questions that you're uncertain of, as I say, do get in contact. And again, like Lewis says, if you'd like to know how much your house is worth in today's market, get involved. Again, we've had a few more people joining us this evening. Jamie Hiller, thanks very much indeed. I know you watch us every week from home, so very much appreciated. We know you've got a busy life with family and things, so really appreciate you joining us. Again, one of our weekly favourites, Jane Austin. Again, great to see you involved as well again this evening. So hello to you, Jane. Give us a little thumbs up as well for us, to both of you guys as well. Let's move on, as I say, to this evening's question and answer session. As I say, this came from Alison at Sweet Sensation.
I'm with Alison today, the owner of Sweet Sensations in the Angel Precinct in Bourne. We've popped in to have a bit of a chat this afternoon. And Alison, I believe you've got a question for us regarding property market.
Yes, I'd just like to know how long on average it takes to sell a business.
Okay, no problem. Well, we're going to go away and find that one out for you, and we'll come back to you with our next show and give you all the answers you need.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now the answer to that for you, Alison, is a bit upsetting in one way, in that there isn't a definitive answer on how long it takes on average. There are so many affecting factors in regard to commercial property. The main thing is obviously the demand, so it depends on whereabouts, you know, what your business is and what the demand is in that location. For example, if you've got a fantastic business idea but you set it up in the wrong location and the market's not there, and you know, your buyers aren't there, and then you know the business won't survive, and also it's not going to be a good investment for you to take onto that commercial property. The other thing that you need to take into account is obviously location off the back of that, but there are also other affecting factors like the economy itself. So there isn't a definitive, as I say. We've gone on to Dalton's, we've gone and looked at some of the other commercial agents, and again looked at our own portfolio. And as a company, we're very successful. We're actually getting some good levels of interest at the moment. In particular, we've got some units over at Boston where we've seen a good level of interest, and in particular over the last sort of 6 to 8 months, a lot of those commercial properties, the interest, we had more interest in on them, and they've been secured as a let much quicker. And one of the reasons I say is because the economy on its in its own merit is improving dramatically, which is a good, you know, a good feeling within the marketplace, and that the economy is improving there. When we look at the say broader field, though, it's very difficult to answer that in regard to how many weeks or how many days. We looked at the residential market, as I say, in Bourne, and on average it was 83 days, and we were getting them sold within about 71, 72. But with commercial, very, very different. We will look into it a little bit more detail for you to see if we can get more of a national average. It is coming in around 6 or 7 months.
What we want to be able to do is help individuals with any questions you've got, anything you're not sure about, anything that you've kind of sat at home and thought, I'm really not sure about this, or I'd love to ask that question. Doesn't matter what it is involving property, send it across to us, and Mike and I will do our best to not only give you our experience and our answers and our time of property markets around the whole of Lincolnshire between us, but indeed, obviously, more importantly, answers local to the marketplace. Just a quick thank you to Elaine, who's joined us this evening. She's watching as well. Appreciate you joining us, Elaine, this evening. Hope the information that you've got so far is informative and interesting, and definitely something a little bit different.
I am just noticing again on the screens the focus is a little bit out this evening, so really appreciate you bearing with us. We're going to need to look at that maybe in regards to, we keep noticing it's dropping out in and out of focus a little bit, so apologies for that. Technical glitch, we'll be looking into that. We are looking obviously week on week with the amount of interest that we're getting about the technology and the way that we can improve this. Obviously the demand and the interest we're getting week after week is sort of improving, so we'll make sure that we'll bring you the best technology we can to make sure we look as good as we can be as well. One thing that I've just picked up on as well, when we were talking about the local economy and the marketplace, just gone on to Zoopla. This is something that again that you might be interested in doing as well. Zoopla offer some information in regard to house prices, and just bearing on what Lewis is just putting in his forecast there. They're forecasting that the average price paid over the last 12 months was actually £226,103. That's based on 440 transactions, sales transactions in the last 24 months. The current average value is at 243,456. So 243,456. That's a little bit higher than what we saw in our figures there. And that's actually showing a value change of 18,250. So again, this is an ever-moving market. It's always great to have lots of information to hand, and we do try and get as many of those sources to give you as much information as we can. The other thing, again, that some of these sites like Rightmove and Zoopla do, it does give you so much factual information about the marketplace. And again, especially if you're moving in from out the area and you're unsure of that marketplace, again, we always recommend come over to the areas, visit it 2-3 times at different times of the day and at the weekend. But when you're doing your homework, get onto these portal platforms, because they give so much information just in regard to what the housing market's doing, and it would also give you a bit of an indication of whether you can see that that market is moving up in value or is declining as well. We're also privy to some information through our portal sites as administrators on these. We can also see how many sort of property inquiries that are coming in on a week-by-week basis, and we can see on there that there were 11 property inquiries for values in the Bourne area just in the last sort of 7 days. So lots of inquiries coming through. We as a company have got off to a fantastic start this year. We offer an online valuation in an instant through our website, and we've actually now registered just shy of 100 valuations between the 4 sales offices in the first 25 days of the year. That will be about a 20% increase up on last year, which is a great result. So again, it's a really good sign in January's market that 2018 is going to be a really good market. It's what we've been forecasting, it's what we've been saying, and again, the results are already coming in to show that that will be the case this year.
And I think one of the most encouraging signs as well, and what I've found here in Bourne in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year, is the amount of buyers that are registering. A real confidence in the marketplace at the moment. A lot of, as I mentioned earlier on in the article regarding the increasing house prices of the last 20 years in Bourne, I've seen a real increase in first-time buyers registering for property. I've seen a real increase in terms of first-time buyers also having their deposits ready as well, and that's something that I found probably a couple of years ago. A lot of first-time buyers were wanting to get onto the housing market and onto the ladder, but didn't really realise what was involved in terms of deposits. And it's, as a first-time buyer, it's daunting. I was there myself. Years ago. You were there probably a lot longer than me, Mike. But the looking at the numbers as a first-time buyer, what you've got to save, not just for your deposit, but your solicitor's fees, all the costs involved in maybe a mortgage setup or a survey, and any additional costs involved, searches. There may even be indemnity insurances. Who knows? You just don't know. There's so many things to factor and to kind of work out. So, first-time buyers in particular, don't be scared to come in and have a chat with us. We just want to help. It's a daunting thing as a first-time buyer. Come in, have a chat, ask the questions. Doesn't matter. No question's a stupid question when you're buying or selling a house. And trust me, between us over the years, we've had all sorts. But every question is valid. So please, if you're a first-time buyer, or even if you've not sold or bought for such a long time, pop in, let's have an informal chat, we'll have a cup of tea or coffee, and we'll just bounce those questions off and just answer them to the best that we can, and we'll try and help you out. And it seems you've got a bit of a fan as well, Mike. Paul Renison gives you a bit of a shout out. I know Paul well as well, obviously Chestnut Homes.
It is indeed.
Paul will remember me as well, obviously from something slightly different, from my hobby of football, but he's obviously a fan of yours. He wants to give you a shout out.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for getting involved as well. Thank you.
Thanks for joining in tonight, Paul.
Just picking up on what you're saying there, Lewis, obviously we're going to tell you in a moment about next week's broadcast and the agenda there, but I actually picked up on something you said there, Lewis, just in regards to the cost of moving and the associated costs. You've talked about mortgage, then you've talked about solicitors and surveys and things. What I think will be a really good topic is that we address that in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And part of our home move maker presentation when we come out on property valuations is to go through that budgeting and the cost of the move. I think maybe in a fortnight's time we can get some of that information ready. We've got some great local solicitors that we work really closely with. We can get them involved as well on the evening. So again, if you've got any questions just in regard to that process of buying and moving and selling and the costs, again, get those questions over to us. Use our Facebook Live comments, put the comments at the bottom of the box there. Get involved on the email addresses as well, telephone numbers and details. Again, we'll put on the bottom of the broadcast also. But again, let's make sure we're getting that information over to you. But I think that'll be a really useful broadcast to put in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, even as recent as this afternoon, I was out on evaluation in Bourne this afternoon, and one of the big questions wasn't just about how much their house was worth. the big question was, can you break down all my fees for me? And you know, it's the first thing I do is get the calculator out, and they're a little bit worried and daunted because I'm getting the calculator out and I'm tallying things up. But the reality of it is there is a cost implication. It's not as bad as a lot of people realise. I think that's the first thing I would stress. But if we break it all down and we go through the real costs, even the changes in stamp duty.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, obviously we mentioned earlier on about the fact that stamp duty is now exempt, so you don't have to pay it as a first-time buyer buying a property up to £300,000. Well, actually, there was also a change about a year and a half ago to stamp duty for anybody in the housing market. And actually, the percentages of stamp duty on what you buy has changed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realise that. So, you know, we have stamp duty calculators and different things which we can use. But again, I think you're right. I think it'd be a great topic to explain how the stamp duty is now worked out. And actually how the differentials work, because it is a bit of a minefield, and then we can probably have a little bit of a run through on a cost of moving type process.
No, I think that's a really great idea. So we'll bring that for you. We'll prepare that over the next couple of weeks. So just to give you a bit of a heads up on next week's broadcast, a really interesting one this, and hopefully this will bring to a bit of a head and a bit of a conclusion just in regard to this proposed development, as we say. It's going to be a great opportunity to get Larkfleet Homes involved next week with Hannah's involvement. We're going to go over and interview her in her offices next week. She's really kindly agreed to do that. So that again will give us that final opportunity to put those questions to us. So again, get involved, get those questions over to us. We'll make sure they're all answered. And again, just by getting the council in again next week in next week's broadcast, again, it'll be good to see their point of view as well, so you can actually see what goes on behind in the background, which are making big decisions in regard to your local community. So that's next week's broadcast. As usual, we'll also have the question times again from the community. We'll be going around Bourne over the next few days. Just wait there for the ambulance to go by. Hot topic. So we'll be getting those in over the next few days, so you'll see us out and about in the town. But again, if you've got that question, pop in into the offices and meet with us and get those to us as well. And say in a fortnight we'll have a look at that home buyer. But again, really pleased with tonight's response. Great to see the involvement again. It's so encouraging when we're sitting here, you know, in the office on our own. We're just talking to a camera here.
It's a lonely world. It's
a
very lonely world.
It's strange, but it's great to know that we've got you involved as well. So thank you to everybody that's been sharing those posts, liking those posts, sending in the questions. What we want you to do now is we want you to share this broadcast. What we do after this live session, we go away, we put some editing in, we put those video clips in. There's a lot of work that goes on in the background by all the team here to make sure that, again, when this is coming to you, whether you're seeing this live now or in the rebroadcast, we try and make sure that it is answering the questions that you want. It is about you. We want to work hard to make sure the content's good. We want to get that engagement. So again, really appreciate your feedback in there. So we want you to now share it so that, again, all the people that you know of within the community get to know about this particular broadcast. We've actually got some really exciting news in the next few weeks by, again, a chance meeting with somebody over in the marketplace earlier on today. We've got some really exciting plans coming ahead, so really delighted that this feature is going down so well. So share the post. That's what we want you to do this evening. Hit that button straight away, get involved, let everybody know that obviously that this is what we're doing. In the meantime, we'll be working in regard to making sure that we're getting this picture quality right for you. As I say, look at that, 27 minutes in. We've got a sales time between 28 and 30 minutes, so we've done well again. Bearing in mind we've blagged most of that as well.
Very much so.
Back into the office, but hey, it's live. This is the fun of live.
Yeah, exactly, and we really do enjoy doing this. Joking aside, you know, this is above and beyond what we do because we work long hours anyway and we have families, but do you know what, we love it, we really enjoy it. 2,500 views last week. Every night we were talking, and every night the views were getting more and more. I'd really be good if we get 3,000 views plus this week. It makes it worthwhile. It makes it worthwhile for us. You know, we love going out and about in the town. It's not just about going out and doing appointments, and it's certainly not about sitting here in the office and watching the world go by. It's about going out into the community, giving a little bit back, giving our experience and expertise, and helping you guys, and that's what we want to do.
Fantastic. So, thanks again. Good to have you back on board with us.
Pleased to be back.
This evening. The wingman's back.
Pleased to be back, because it was raining and it was cold last Thursday night out on appointments, so really pleased to be back.
And again, thank you again to you, and I know we said it this evening, but thanks very much. Don't forget to share that post out this evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.